The thing that I kept going back to last night, so the Blazers get the 11th overall pick. It's depressing, but for some reason, some people are like, this is great.
I don't think people are saying this is great. They're just
great.
like,
No,
hey, this
it.
is not a big deal.
Everything's great. The future's bright. I just, to me, the biggest question is how, and this was my whole argument at the start of the year on why I felt the way I felt about their strategy of building the roster and keeping certain guys around. How do you take the next step? How do you go from, hey, fun little feisty non-playoff team. That's cool. That's now the bar that's been set of like a successful season, winning 35 games. How do you become a playoff team?
36.
36, my apologies. How do you become a playoff team? And then how do you become a contender? And that to me is the ultimate.
You're not a contender.
Well, sure. I'm just saying, like, just can you win a playoff series? Like, how do you get to that point?
Playoffs.
So let's workshop that. How do you get there from the position you're in right now?
Well, one, I think, I'm just going to try to spitball between what I think and what I think they're thinking. What I think they're thinking is, see what the trade market offers certain guys. Jeremy Grant's trade market's not going to be good. That contract blows.
Nobody wants Jeremy Grant. Nobody wants DeAndre Ayton. And Anthony Simons is not having teams trip over themselves to trade for him.
Well, we'll get 2 top 5 picks and a first-round pick for Anthony Simons, according to Worldwide WOB and the rest of the internet.
Of course we will.
If that deal happens, by the way, you take it. You don't even hesitate. Good luck in Houston, buddy.
And RB.
I think what they would say is, how do you get there? Well, your younger players develop, because they're really touting that from this past season was the growth and development. Okay. You're going to add a piece at the 11th pick, whether that's a Derek Queen or one mock had us taking a point guard, which I'm just like, can you just do an ounce of research?
I mean, would you be shocked?
Yeah, I would. I genuinely would. Well, I mean, look, you can say whatever you want. This version of the regime is not 6'3" guards everywhere. At the minimum, it's like, yo, maybe we just have a backlog of 6'6", 6'5" guys.
We have a little bit more size.
Like, if we got it 4th, I bet you we would have taken VJ Edgecombe. And I wouldn't have cared at all about the Shaden Sharp stuff. Just give me athletes, give me, tall guys, whatever.
Figure it out later.
But I think they would say development, steady little moves, like finding Denny Avdia-type deals, which I don't think are going to grow on trees very much for you.
Hey, you've gone from 36 wins to 38 wins. Congratulations.
But I think that's what they would say, is whether, can we go from 36 to 40? Can we make the play-in next year? Because even though it sounded more like the coach was saying playoff, if they get into the play-in as a 10 seed, they're going to tout that.
Of course they will. And fans will eat that up.
People will eat that up and say, there it is. There's the growth. And then I'd say, well, Cooper Flagg's going into year 2 in Dallas.
Yeah, and how do you get past the 10 seed the next year after that? How do you take the next step after?
I mean,
without one of your players turning into a generational star, which I think all of us are in agreement on is not going to happen.
Well, the best thing that can happen for this team is, and I hate to say this, is they need injuries. Because if you look at the landscape of the West today, assuming they keep the pick and they draft whoever the hell it is at 11, that player is not immediately going to help them.
No.
Not on a game-to-game, night-to-night basis. Klingon was a 7th pick. He ain't doing it. Scoot was a 3rd pick. He ain't doing it. So if that guy's not going to day-to-day help you, you have to say, how many teams right now in the West are worse than us? And if there's not injuries, there will be, but if there's not, Utah? Is there anybody else?
Depending on what Utah does in the draft this year.
Well, I don't think Utah's going to get a game-changing player that's going to change everything about their
circumstance. No, not in a year.
And I think they want the kid that's going to BYU that Danny Ainge and the owner of the Jazz are paying a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what New Orleans looks like. If Zion's healthy, I'd probably say they have a chance to be better, but that's not a guarantee.
Okay, so maybe New Orleans,
maybe Phoenix if they blow it up. Maybe.
Okay, maybe. But they still got. It sounds like they're going to keep Booker. We'll wait to see on that. So there might be 2 teams, maybe a 3rd, but right now, maybe 1. So you need stuff to happen around you that is out of your control.
Sure.
To answer your question in a long-winded way, it is going to be steady growth. It is going to be few games per season unless something falls into your lap. That's what I think the answer is.
So last night was your chance to have something fall into your lap. Nothing fell into your lap. Do you know where how the Blazers' first-round draft selection's looking next year? They don't have one. They don't have a first-round pick next year. They traded it. So you don't have a first-round pick now again until 2020.
Is that the Chicago?
I don't know if it was a Chicago or part of Denny Avdia. I don't know what trade it was a part of. I'm just looking at their future draft capital.
I thought the Avdia one was one of the
They do not
Bucks
have
picks.
a 2026 first-round pick. So I don't know. Maybe that's...
Where are you seeing? Is that Spot Track? Or?
I'm looking at fanspo.com, a list of all future first-round picks. So my
Well,
contention.
that's very problematic. They need to get one of those.
Yeah, that'd be nice, right? My contention has largely been you're stuck exactly where you don't want to be, and you don't have a way out of this because steady growth is fine for 20% of the fan base who will buy season tickets year in and year out and be happy with whatever crap is shoveled towards them.
Yeah.
And they don't expect more or demand more out of their teams. And golly gee willikers, that was fun. We beat the Wizards. There's a fan base that fan exists. I grant you that. How you get out of this is by getting extremely lucky in the draft lottery, which that opportunity passed last night. Not going to happen. You're not going to have a first-round pick again until 2027 unless you trade for one. Then it's, okay, well, you're not in purgatory because you have future assets. The first Milwaukee pick is not until 2028. And it's, by the way, it's a more favorable rights pick thing. It's a pick swap thing with Milwaukee that year. And then you have their first-round pick, similar thing, swap rights with Milwaukee in 2030.
Which, by the way, Milwaukee does end up getting in on the Giannis trade stuff. Do they get the second pick this year? And does Dylan Harper go to Milwaukee? And it's
Very
like,
well
hey,
could
that's
happen.
Cade Cunningham 2.0. Milwaukee's not as bad in 3 years.
Very well. Things change drastically. That's 5 years away from now, right? Yeah. And I would ask for those who say, well, you have those assets, that means you're not in purgatory. So are you telling me I'm waiting until 2028 to draft my star? That's 3 years from now. You're telling me you're trading the picks. Okay. Mikal Bridges was traded last offseason. How many first-round picks did he get traded for?
He got 5.
Okay. Is Mikal Bridges a player who's going to lead a team to a championship?
Lead a team,
If you put Mikal Bridges on the Portland Trailblazers and you traded 5 first-round picks for him, does that change your outlook in the next couple of years?
Probably
to a
not.
legitimate contender?
Probably not.
Okay. So, again, I asked the question, how do you get out of this?
You call up Nico Harrison and you say, give us the Lucas special. Cooper Flag for nothing.
Crunch Time brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 a month. Find your Crunch Time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com.
Well, here's the other part of it. This is the kind of the dirty secret part that I don't want to acknowledge, but you kind of have to when you're having these conversations. Do they want to get out of it?
I don't think they do. That's the whole point I'm making.
Being the 7 seed fills up the Moda Center, makes
being
money.
The 10 seed will sell out the Moda Center for the majority of next season.
Yeah, and it'll
winning
up your
40
viewership.
games is all you need to do to make this fan base happy. And that's the problem.